Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. Have you ever waited for someone so long that just hearing their name could make your heart burst? In the previous episode, Diep endured countless hardships, and just when it seemed that reunion was within reach, fate cruelly pulled them apart at the very last moment. But today, after all the tears and trials, that long-awaited moment has finally come. James and Diep will truly find each other again. I believe today's episode will touch your heart. Join me as we step into this new chapter to see whether love is truly strong enough to conquer destiny itself. And don't forget to leave a comment after watching, because maybe, just maybe, your emotions are what give this story its power. The road ahead stretched endlessly, the afternoon sun spilling over it like a sheet of golden silk, beautiful, yet unforgiving. With every step Diep took, dust rose around her, clinging to her sunburned skin. She carried nothing but her calloused hands, and the only thing filling her stomach was the slow, dull ache of hunger. She looked around, hoping to find someone who might hire her, even just to serve tea, sweep floors, or do any kind of labor. Anything that could earn her a few small bills, enough to pay for a motorbike ride home. And then, as she followed a narrow trail along the hillside, she saw it. A vast cornfield, glowing under the late afternoon sun, ready for harvest. Among the endless rows of corn, the golden light fell in sharp, glimmering streaks. Diep walked closer to a man bent over, working alone among the stalks. Her voice was soft, hesitant, but earnest. "Sir, may I help you pick corn? I can work for pay, anything you think is fair." The farmer looked up, his gaze meeting the thin, weary face of the stranger, those tired but determined eyes. He nodded gently. "All right. If you're willing, come help me. It's hard work for one person." Fortune, at last, had smiled on her. A small job, a glimmer of hope for her journey home. Diep bent down, her slender hands trembling as they gripped each cornstalk and pulled hard. The dry snap of breaking husks echoed across the field, mingling with the rustle of leaves, a quiet, melancholy song of the harvest. Sweat ran down her neck, soaking through the faded fabric of her shirt. Still, she kept working, steady, tireless, driven by a single thought. Every step, every effort, was one step closer to home. As she left the cornfield, Diep carefully tucked the money into her pocket. To her, that small sum felt like a fortune, though she wasn't sure if it would be enough to pay for a ride back home. She walked quickly along the dusty red road. A motorbike driver stood by the roadside, squinting, his eyes scanning her thin figure from head to toe. "Where you headed, girl? Need a ride?" he rasped. Diep's voice trembled, sincere and pleading. "Sir, I just need to get to the next town. This is all I have. If you can take me, I'll be truly grateful." He eyed her, saying it wasn't enough. The road was long, but then, something in him shifted. After a brief silence, he nodded, lips curling into a faint, unreadable smile. "All right, hop on. That'll do." Diep's heart fluttered. In that fragile moment, she felt deeply thankful, believing there were still kind people in this world willing to help even when she couldn't afford it. She bowed slightly, climbed onto the back seat, hands clutching the corner of her shirt, whispering softly, "Thank you, truly." The engine roared to life, and the motorbike sped off into the pale evening light. Wind brushed her face, Dust rose thick around them. Yet in her heart, Diep felt a weight lifting. Just a little further, and she would finally be closer to home. But that fragile hope was short-lived. Halfway down the road, the motorbike jerked to a stop along a deserted stretch. The driver turned, his voice now cold and sharp. "Out of money already? If you want to keep going, pay more." Diep froze. He gave a dry laugh, eyes glinting with malice. "No more cash? Then get off, or..." His tone dropped, slimy and vile. "Stay with me for the night." It was like a blade cutting through what was left of her strength. Tears welled up as she fumbled for the little money she had. But before she could hand it over, he snatched it from her. Moments ago, she had felt gratitude. Now, only bitterness remained. She finally understood. Money can't always buy kindness. Some people only see weakness and take advantage of it. Her footsteps pressed heavily into the dusty road, her frail figure swaying under the weight of exhaustion. Yet in her eyes, a flicker of determination still burned. "I have to keep going, even if all I have left are my own 2 feet." Will Diep have the strength to continue this painful journey? The mountain road lay silent, broken only by the whisper of wind weaving through the trees. James slowed his steps, then stopped. His breath caught as his eyes fixed on the frail figure ahead. Thin shoulders, a faded shirt, tangled hair. But he would know that silhouette anywhere. His heart clenched, and before he could stop himself, his voice broke through the still air, trembling, desperate. "Diep!" That single word tore through the quiet, striking deep into Diep's weary heart. As if afraid to believe her own ears, she turned, slowly. Her tearful eyes widened, stunned, trembling. And in that instant, every ounce of pain, fear, and lonely wandering came crashing down like a wave. "James." Her voice cracked, frail but full of emotion. Without a second thought, Diep ran toward him, and James? He broke into a sprint, as though if he hesitated even for a moment, she might vanish into the endless mist of the mountains. When they finally collided, the world around them dissolved. Tears flowed freely, merging into one stream. Diep buried her face in his chest, sobbing uncontrollably, releasing all the cold, lonely nights she had endured. James held her tightly, his trembling hands stroking her messy hair, his voice rough and hoarse, half apology, half vow. "I'm sorry. I've been searching for you all this time. From now on, I won't let you suffer anymore. No matter what happens, I'll never let go." Diep clung even tighter, her delicate fingers gripping the back of his shirt, desperate to make sure this wasn't a dream. "I thought I'd never see you again." James lowered his head, his eyes blurred with tears. Sweat and tears mixed on his sunburned face. But none of that mattered. Diep was here, right here, in his arms. His hands trembled as he gently lifted her face, terrified that if he loosened his grip, she would disappear like a fragile illusion. Their breaths intertwined, quick, uneven, alive. James's heartbeat thundered against her ear, powerful and certain, whispering the words she had longed to hear. "I'm here, and I'll never leave you again." Amid the vastness of the mountains, the two of them, small, battered, and scarred, became the center of the universe. No more distance, no more loss. only love. Pure, fierce, and strong enough to make tears and smiles fall at the same time. The car came to a gentle stop at the front gate. James stepped out and carefully helped Diep down. She was still frail, her steps unsteady. Yet on her pale face, for the first time in so long, there was a faint trace of peace. The peace of someone who had finally found her way home. Inside, James's mother sat at the tea table, her heart restless as ever. Days had passed with no word of Diep, and worry had begun to gnaw at her from within. But when the door creaked open and the familiar silhouette appeared, her breath caught. Her hands trembled, her eyes widened, and in a voice choked with disbelief, she whispered, "Diep, is that really you?" Before another heartbeat passed, Diep ran forward and threw her arms around the older woman. It was a trembling embrace, fragile, yet overflowing with love and longing. James's mother held her close, tears streaming freely down her face. "Do you know how I've prayed for you every single night? Thank heaven you're safe, my child. Thank heaven." James stood nearby, his throat tightening as he watched the two women he loved most in this world, one who gave him life and one who gave his life meaning, reunited in each other's arms. His eyes glistened. His chest rose and fell heavily with emotion. Gently, his mother led Diep to sit down. Her rough, work-worn hands never stopped stroking the girl's trembling fingers. "Are you tired, my dear? Have you been eating? Oh God, you've lost so much weight. Tell me, was there anyone kind enough to help you on the way?" Diep could barely hold back her tears as she recounted her story. The hunger, the fear, the small acts of kindness that had kept her going. James's mother listened, her eyes brimming with tenderness. When Diep finished, the woman took her hands again and said softly, "From now on, don't worry about a thing. This house is your home too. You've suffered enough, my daughter." James sat quietly nearby, his heart swelling with gratitude and relief. After all the pain and sleepless nights, the woman he had longed for was finally home. And in that moment, even his mother's weary heart seemed to find new strength. After the long-awaited reunion dinner, the little house was filled with a rare, tender warmth. Soft golden light fell over the dining table, still carrying the scent of hot soup. Laughter lingered in the air, mingling with the faint clinking of dishes, the quiet echo of happiness finally found. In the small room, James sat across from Diep on the narrow bed. His gaze was gentle yet intense, as if he wished he could make up for every lonely day she had endured. He reached for her thin hand, his fingers closing around hers with care. His voice, low and steady, trembled with emotion. "From now on, you'll never be alone again. I promise to spend the rest of my life protecting you." Diep said nothing. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she looked at him, a gaze filled with both trust and tenderness. She nodded softly. In that moment, words became unnecessary. James gently lifted her chin, his eyes deep and full of love. Diep closed her eyes, surrendering to the quiet warmth between them. Their lips met, a trembling, tender kiss, fragile yet certain, carrying a single truth. They had found each other again, and this time, they would never be lost. Outside, the night breeze whispered through the trees, like a song of blessing for their reunion. Inside, Two hearts that had weathered countless storms now beat in harmony, beginning a new chapter, filled with light and hope.
Nhưng liệu sau bao sóng bão, tình yêu ấy có thật sự đủ mạnh mẽ để vượt qua những thử thách tiếp theo? Liệu số phận có buông tha hay vẫn còn những tương lai đang chờ đợi phía trước? Còn bạn có tin rằng khi hai trái tim thuộc về nhau thì chẳng có sức mạnh nào có thể chia cắt? Hãy để lại suy nghĩ của bạn ở phần bình luận